I go in and I have my daughter, and I'm all happy, and this is sort of a little bit repetitive but it's part of my speech, so you have to hear it again. I have my daughter on my chest, and I'm all excited and happy, and my doctor comes up to me. He's like, oh, it's so wonderful, does a little chit-chat, and starts to leave, and I grab his lab coat, and I said, wait a minute. I said, I have a question. I think he's thinking I'm going to ask something about, I don't know, just having the kid or something. And I said, when can I work out again? And he looked at me like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. He's like, tell you what, tomorrow if you want to go to the gym, you can go to the gym, but I highly doubt you want to go to the gym. He said, but you can't do aerobic work for 6 weeks. And I said, but I have a swim meet in 3 weeks. And he's like, that's not going to happen. Well, sure enough, he was correct. I did not even want to get near a gym the next day. As I don't know what the problem is with these people. They tell you about labor, but they don't tell you anything about how you feel after you deliver a kid. So it took me about a week and a half, but I finally got up to go to the gym, and I had to do everything standing. I should do an ad for Depends, but so I'm in the gym, and I'm doing my little tricep extensions, and I'm feeling pretty good. And out of the corner of my eye, I see someone who looks kind of familiar. And I turn, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my doctor. And I'm like, what if he was kidding when he said I can be in the gym after, the next day? And it's too late. He already saw me, comes walking over, and he's like, so, DT, I see you're in the gym. And he is kind of a little bit of a jokester, so I wasn't sure if he was really kidding when he said that. And I said, well, you said I can be in the gym. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And we start talking a little bit. And I said, I have this swim meet in a week and a half, and I was wondering if I can swim in it. And he looked at me, he's like, you know what? Us doctors, we don't really know what we're talking about. Go ahead and swim. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just go ahead and swim. So I was like, all right. And before he could change his mind, I was like out of that gym and in the car and trying on my swimsuits, which wasn't a good sight, but I was trying on my swimsuits. And next thing I know, I'm in the water. And my coach, actually, my master's coach, didn't recognize me when I walked on the deck a week and a half after delivering. But after I got a little closer, he recognized who I was and couldn't believe I had a swimsuit on and was in the pool swimming. But I was excited about it. And I swam in my first meet 3 weeks after I delivered, and was very upset. I was 2 seconds off my best time. And the head coach, Michael, was like, do you realize you just had a child? And I think we did a role reversal, because before he was the guy, and I think I was sort of being the guy at that point. But I had fun, and my partner had said, there's a meet in 3 months. Why don't we go to that meet? It's the Masters World Championships. I'm like, okay, great. And decided to train for about an hour 3 times a week, and showed up Masters World Championships and swam kind of fast. I actually qualified for the 50 at Olympic trials, which I wasn't trying to do. But out of the 5,000 swimmers that were at this meet, and let me tell you, it's the biggest meet I've ever been to in my life. And they actually do it in 2 separate pools. They swim the women in one pool and the men in another pool. And out of these 5,000 swimmers, about 5,000 swimmers came up to me and said, oh, it'd be great to have a 40-year-old in the Olympics. Oh, well, you should just go do this. And I'm like, what are these guys talking about, And I just swam one event. I started thinking about all the stuff that it would take. And after just a couple days of people coming up to me, I was like, all right, okay, I'll do it, I'll just do it. And so it wasn't like some big light bulb went off in my head, and I'd be like, oh, this, I got to do this, this, and this. I was like, yeah, fine, okay, I'll train for it, And that's how it happened. And it's funny, you run into 2 kinds of people when you decide to do something like this. I remember going to New York. I was on the board of the 2012 New York committee trying to get the games to New York in 2012, and became friends with a lot of people. And one of my friends was Mayor Bloomberg. And I had lunch with him one day, and I said, well, there's something I want to tell you. And he's like, what? And I said, well, I want to make a comeback. And his first response to me was, aren't you too old for that? I was like, so you have that one, and then you have another one like Dick Ebersol, where you go in and start talking to him, and you tell him about, this wonderful dream of trying for a 5th Olympic team, and he's like, oh, that's fantastic. I think that's great. You follow your dreams. This is wonderful. So there were definitely two types of people when I decided to make my comeback. No gray area. But you know what? I remember going to my first workout, and you're in for a long haul when you're in the pool and you're with 15, 16-year-olds, and they're talking about possibly piercing their ears and what they should wear to their homecoming. I was like, oh my gosh, I have this for a year and a half, 2 years. So that was interesting, swimming with teenagers again. But it was fun, and people ask how I did this, and it's very simple. I didn't do this by myself. This wasn't just me doing this. I surrounded myself with the best people in their fields, and I had the best stretching trainers, the best strength and conditioning coach, the best swim coaches, the best massage people. I felt like if I was going to do something special, I needed these special people around me to do what I wanted to do.